From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, troops supported by Nigeria Police Mobile Force personnel foil a suspected ISWAP mass abduction attempt at Federal Government Girls College in Monguno, Borno State. Plateau State Government, Nigerian Army pursue fresh security strategies as Governor Caleb Mutfwang urges decisive action against persistent violence, threatening peace, stability, and national sovereignty. Nigerian Bar Association elects senior advocate Oluyinkansola Badejo Kunsoya as next president after securing the highest votes in the association's 2026 National Officers election. And United States and Iran exchange strikes for 8th consecutive day following deadly attack on U.S. base in Jordan that killed 2 soldiers and left another missing. We begin tonight with security matters as troops of Operation Hedinkai and the Nigeria Police Mobile Force have foiled an attempted mass abduction by suspected ISWAP terrorists at the Federal Government Girls College in Monguno, Borno State, now serving as temporary accommodation for federal polytechnic students. The military says that all 46 students were rescued and taken to safety after security forces repelled the attack. However, some students were killed by gunfire as the fleeing terrorists escaped. The rector of the school spoke to the Army Commandant about the incident. Well, another rescue has also been made, this time in Niger State, where police command says that it has rescued 9 children and suspected to be victims of human trafficking and arrested 2 suspects in separate intelligence-led operations across the state. The police public relations officer, SP Wasiu Abiodun, says that operatives from the Madala and Makungu police divisions carried out the operation following credible intelligence. Well, he says that 6 female children aged between 7 and 13 were intercepted along the Madala-Suleja road while being transported by the suspect identified as Dauda Ayuba. Police also allege the suspect was taking the children for domestic work and other forms of child labor after deceiving their parents with claims of educational opportunities. While in a separate operation in Mina, officers arrested Mary Anthony, who was found with 3 girls aged between 8 and 10, suspected to be victims of trafficking. The police say that both suspects have now been transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for further investigation, while efforts are ongoing to arrest other members of the alleged trafficking networks. Meanwhile, the government of Plateau State and the Nigerian Army are now seeking renewed security strategies to help tackle persistent violence in the state, with Governor Caleb Mutfwang urging security agencies to treat the crisis as a threat to Nigeria's sovereignty rather than a routine peacekeeping operation. The governor made this call while receiving the new general officer commanding 3 Division and commander of Operation Enduring Peace, Major General Maxwell Dangana, on the courtesy visit to the government house in Jos. Our correspondent Percy Dabang reports.
His Excellency the Governor of Plateau State.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang welcomes the new GOC of 3 Division, Major General Maxwell Dangana, to Jos. The mission, a strategic reset for Plateau's security.
Very senior government official.
Governor Mutfwang asserts that Plateau's potential remains stifled by insecurity. He identifies the perpetrators as enemies of the state, demanding decisive military confrontation to restore order.
This has become a national embarrassment we need to deal with. And I've always said it, that my perspective on the security challenges in Nigeria is that our armed forces must see their duty not as a peacekeeping force, but actually protecting the sovereignty of Nigeria against enemies of state. If we don't look at it like that, we will be making a classical mistake.
Following the visit, the military leadership convenes with stakeholders to map a new path forward. Traditional rulers and local officials identify the true drivers of the conflict. The Bangom Jos calls for the implementation of past judicial reports framing the violence as an invasion by external attackers rather than mere communal clashes.
The people that have created the problem are always coming from the outside. They are all coming from the outside. And this is the issue that we have to tackle. From where are they coming? What is their mission? And it is common knowledge here that they have taken over some of our ancestral lands.
The new GOC pledges an era of impartiality, promising equal protection for every community.
Criminals have no tribe, religion, or ethnicity as far as we know. Once an individual takes to crime, he becomes an enemy of the society and must be treated as such. I therefore urge everyone to provide timely and credible information to security agencies to enable us to prevent crime before it occurs.
Stakeholders reaffirm their commitment as the new military leadership begins efforts to consolidate peace. Percy Dabang, Channels Television News.
And the National Civil Society Council of Nigeria is calling for an independent, transparent and impartial investigation into the death of Deputy Superintendent of Corps Agada Levy Agada, whose death is already generating public concern and attention. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the Council's Executive Director, Ambassador Blessing Akisolotu, says that only a comprehensive probe supervised by relevant federal oversight institutions will restore public confidence in the justice system.
This intervention should not be misconstrued as an attempt to defend any individual or to indict any institution. Neither are we questioning the authority and statutory power of any law enforcement agency to investigate allegations of criminal conduct. Rather, we insist that every investigation, regardless of the personality or institution involved, must be conducted professionally, transparently, and fairly, and strictly in accordance with the Constitution and the rule of law. According to information made available to the Council, Officer Agada lost his life. He lost his precious life during an operation at a mining site. It has been alleged that an autopsy report indicates that he sustained gunshot wounds to the chest and abdomen.
And away from security matters, the Nigerian Bar Association has announced the successful completion of its 2026 National Officers Election. The chairman of the Electoral Committee of the NBA, Mr. Aham Ejelam, also announced Mrs. Oyinkansola Badejo Okunsoya, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as the winner of the presidential seat.
This is the final hour for the Nigeria Bar Association to announce the successful completion of its 2026 National Officers Election.
The contestants are many.
The election was held through electronic voting for 24 hours from the early hours of Saturday to 7:34 a.m. on Sunday.
And we have successfully concluded.
The real-time status of the 2026 NBA national elections shows a total of 82,172 registered voters, while 26,184 voted, representing a total turnout of 31.86%.
One thing particular about this exercise is that each vote represents actual valid votes cast by one person.
Some candidates emerged with new positions as the announcement of Mrs. Oyinkansola Badejo Okunsoya SAN as the winner of the presidential seat is made.
The General Secretary will have Afam Okeke. He polled 8,478 votes. Yekanshola Badejo Kusanya SN, Mrs. B, polled 12,317 votes, representing 47.18%. With that result, she stands elected as the president of Nigeria.
In his remarks, the president of the association laments that some individuals attempted to hack through the system.
The maligned individuals, they undermined the process with their utterances, and yet we stood firm. The members of the ECMBA stood firm. Every effort to derail this process failed. But I will say to the men and women who today have been elected to take over from us, and by the way, we can't wait to hand over to them, that as we celebrate, know that this is a trying time for the bar.
Following her victory, Badejo Okusonya, who is the second female president of the bar, in a statement described her election as a collective triumph for lawyers. She pledged to lead a highly inclusive and responsive administration, promising to be a president for every MBA member, while declaring her dedication to integrity, fairness, and accountability.
Meanwhile, the president-elect of the Nigerian Bar Association, Oyinkansola Badejo Okusonya, has extended an olive branch to other contestants in the Bar Association presidency. Speaking on our political program, Sunday Politics, Mrs. Okusonya explains that she is ready for any post-election audit and will be taking the association to the next level.
But a humbling experience, because when you put yourself out there trying to convince colleagues that you have what it takes to lead them, and then somehow or the other you are able to achieve that, and over 12,000 people put their trust in you, cast their votes for you, that's humbling. And I'm not unmindful of the huge responsibility that lies ahead, and the fact that I have to justify the trust that has been reposed in me by them and others. Unfortunately, we've had a trust deficit in the association with regards to our election, whether right or wrong. Perception is reality. So there's a perception that the elections are rigged, and to that extent, that trust deficit needs to be dealt with. Now, as for this election cycle, I'm grateful for the scrutiny that it came under, because right-thinking individuals will understand that this election cycle could not have come under this much scrutiny and yet be compromised. So I can beat my chest, and I have said that if need be, I'll subject myself to a post-election audit, because I also have no desire for my win to be delegitimized in any way. I think what we need to do as a bar is come together and have an honest conversation about how we want to conduct our elections in a way that engenders the most confidence for the most people. Something that we actually talk about and devise a means by which our electoral process will be respected. In every contest, there's a winner and there's a loser, or losers as the case may be. But we move on. I understand the issues that have informed some of their thinking, and I think we should just come together, right? Accept the outcome, and then work together to build a better bar. Incidentally, I've always had a very cordial relationship with my co-contestants. I made that a point. I have every intention of reaching out to them, every intention of seeking their support. Well, I mean, there's nothing that cannot be solved by dialogue. So perhaps if I reach out to them, we have a conversation, we might be able to resolve issues without resorting.
The bar is very divided. Is your plan and the major agenda to unite the bar?
Absolutely. It's the only way we can move forward.
And Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has been elected the new chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government during the bloc's 69th Ordinary Summit in Freetown in Sierra Leone. President Faye succeeds Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio as a critical time for the regional body as it grapples with insecurity, democratic challenges, and the withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger from ECOWAS. As a new chairman, President Faye is expected to prioritize efforts to rebuild trust within the sub-region, strengthening dialogue with the three breakaway states, and advance regional integration, peace, and economic cooperation. At 46, Faye becomes one of Africa's youngest regional leaders, with expectations that his leadership will inject fresh momentum into ECOWAS's reform agenda, especially in governance, institutional credibility, accountability, and youth inclusion. Earlier today, Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima arrived in Freetown in Sierra Leone to represent President Bola Tinubu at that summit. And the Vice President has also arrived there. We'll be bringing you details of this in the course of the bulletin. In part two, after the break, federal government plans digital identity development to track mining operators, strengthen regional and regulation, improve transparency, tackle insecurity across Nigeria's solid mineral sector through technology-driven reforms. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. The reminder of our main stories. Troops supported by Nigeria Police Mobile Force personnel foil a suspected ISWAP mass abduction attempt at Federal Government Girls College in Monguno, Borno State. Plateau government, Nigerian army pursue fresh security strategies as Governor Caleb Mutwang urges decisive action against persistent violence, threatening peace, stability, and national sovereignty. Nigerian Bar Association elects senior advocate Oyinkansola Badejo Okunsoya as next president after securing the highest votes in the association's 2026 national officers election. And the United States and Iran exchanged strikes for 8 consecutive days following deadly attack on U.S. base in Jordan that killed 2 soldiers and left another person missing. And for more on the 69th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in Freetown, Sierra Leone, President Bola Tinubu has called on African leaders to speak with one voice in condemning the ongoing Afrophobic or xenophobic attacks in South Africa, describing such acts as unacceptable under any circumstance. Well represented at the summit by Vice President Kashim Shettima, President Tinubu has asked Africa to condemn these attacks unanimously. President Tinubu says the united Continental response will send a strong message that intolerance and violence against fellow Africans have no place on the continent. He also told the gathering that Nigeria has already evacuated more than 1,490 citizens from South Africa in 7 batches and remains committed to taking further diplomatic and humanitarian measures to safeguard its nationals.
We must renew our collective determination to strengthen regional integration and ensure that our community remains responsive to the aspirations and needs of our people. On Afrophobic attacks in South Africa, I wish to join Ghana in strongly condemning the Afrophobic attacks on its citizens and other fellow Africans in the Republic of South Africa. As already mentioned by His Excellency the President of Ghana, ECOWAS should present this matter before the next meeting of the Authority of African Union to send a clear message that this type of intolerance is unacceptable. South Africa should be reminded, while we tread the path of moderation, South Africa needs to be reminded that the freedom the country currently enjoys is due to the liberation efforts of African countries such as Nigeria and Ghana. Deductions were made from our scholarship allowances to fund liberation movements in Southern Africa. They should learn to know where their problem lies. Their problem does not lie with fellow Africans who are there to sell their skills. Nigerian government has evacuated our citizens in 7 batches and is prepared to engage more on this matter.
The Nigerian Navy says that it has intensified its crackdown on crude oil theft, dismantling 2 reactivated illegal refining sites in Rivers State under Operation Delta Sentinel. The operation, carried out by personnel of Nigerian Navy ship Finder in the Egbema axis of Oba, Egbema and Doni local government area of the state, followed attempts by suspected oil thieves to resume operations at sites previously destroyed earlier this month. Naval personnel recovered more than 126,000 liters of suspected stolen crude oil and illegally refined automotive gas oil concealed in dugout pits and reservoirs before deactivating the facilities. The Navy also says the operation underscores its commitment to sustaining intelligence-led operations, disrupting crude oil theft networks, protecting critical national assets, and strengthening Nigeria's economic security. The federal government is strengthening efforts to curb illegal mining by deploying digital identity technology across Nigeria's solid minerals sector. During a meeting with the Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Dr. Abisoye Kokau-Dushote in Abuja, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, says that credible digital identity and reliable data are all essential to tackling mining operators, improving regulation, and enhancing security. He says that integrating NIMC's identity infrastructure will boost transparency, strengthen enforcement, and support ongoing reforms aimed at sanitizing the mining industry. Mr. Kokau-Dushote also says the partnership, backed by the NIMC Act 2026, will improve data sharing, regulatory compliance, and monitoring other operators, including public service delivery, while both institutions have now reaffirmed their commitment to leveraging technology to strengthen and develop the sector. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has said that it has dismantled a major cross-border drug trafficking operation following the interception of 2 long trailers carried 1.63 million pills of tramadol concealed in secret compartments. The agency says the intelligence-led operation targeted a transnational syndicate allegedly smuggling tramadol from Togo through Benin Republic into Nigeria. NDLEA officers recovered 853,000 pills from 1 trailer heading to Kano along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway on July the 2nd, 2026, and arrested a 22-year-old driver, Jabir Kabiru. Just 2 days later, another trailer was intercepted on the same route, this time with 777,000 pills of tramadol recovered from fabricated compartments beneath the cargo floor. The driver, Mohammed Nuhu, also aged 22, was arrested. The agency says investigations show the intercepted trucks and consignments from June the 21st, July the 2nd, and July the 4th were all linked to the same transnational drug trafficking network operating across the Togo-Benin Republic-Nigeria corridor. We turn our attention now to agriculture and infrastructure, this time in Yobe State, where the governor, Mai Malabuni, has approved 73 billion naira for mega agricultural empowerment, roads, modern motor park construction, among other capital projects across the state. The Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture briefed journalists shortly after a State Executive Council meeting.
The Yobe State Executive Council meeting commenced with a presentation of awards won and received by 3 commissioners on behalf of the governor at different occasions. The meeting continues with the receipt of memos from Ministries of Agriculture, Works, Wealth Creation, Housing, among others, and thereafter approvals are given. The sum of 28 billion naira is approved for 2026 agric empowerment to boost agricultural production across the 17 local government areas of the state.
The State Executive Council approved a total of 73 billion 775 million 914,000 naira in projects and services. Of this amount, 28 billion 531 million 209,000 will be spent in the procurement of agricultural tools and implements for the mega agri empowerment program with His Excellency for the year 2026.
The Commissioner for Information further clarifies the other projects approved, which includes a 4 billion naira modern motor park in Buniadi, 5 billion naira for external facilities, among others.
The sum of 4 billion 939,268,813 naira was also ratified for the construction of Buniadi modern motor park and grains market. The sum of 5 billion 687,085,141 naira 49 kobo was approved for external facilities and augmentation of perimeter fence at the Damatru modern motor park, currently under construction and nearing completion. The State Executive Council has also approved the sum of 3,945,496,686 naira 96 kobo for the construction of a new shopping mall and mini market in Bonigari town of Gujiba local government.
The state government had in 2024 and 2025 launched the same free mega agric empowerment and subsidized prices of fertilizer and hiring of tractors to support farmers across the state.
Still ahead on the news at 10, United States and Iran exchanged strikes for 8th consecutive day following deadly attack on U.S. base in Jordan that killed 2 soldiers and left another person missing. That's on the foreign scene. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. And in the southern part of Nigeria, the Cross River State government has launched its agricpreneurship program designed to equip young people with practical farming skills and drive food sufficiency across the state. The flag off ceremony in Calabar brought together government officials, development partners, farmers and key shareholders, all to the state as it begins a new push to transform agriculture, create opportunities and strengthen food production.
Government officials, agricultural stakeholders and farmers gather at Millennium Park, Calabar, to launch the Cross River State Agripreneurship Program, an initiative aimed at empowering young people and women through agriculture. The flag-off begins with an awareness walk from Millennium Park through major streets in Calabar, ending at the Murtala Muhammad Highway, where participants converge for the official launch of the program. The state government says the initiative is designed to boost agricultural productivity, create jobs, and strengthen food security by providing access to improved seedlings, mechanization, financing, and markets.
We set up what we call the Tree Crop Development Agency. The Tree Crop Development Agency will ensure that there is regulation so that we can have access to premium markets. Apart from that, we have embarked on the largest irrigation scheme ever conceived in Cross River State, where we have a 64 billion naira project to construct and dye the Bansara Basin.
The national president, All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Mohammed Magaji, who is representing the federal government here, describes the program as a strong collaboration with Cross River State, aimed at accelerating agricultural development and increasing food production.
Recently, the president has passed a bill for the inclusion of 20% into wheat. He has sent the bill to the National Assembly and so far the bill that passed is incremental. So it is important also for some farmers across the state to look at how they can improve their production. And the state also look at how they can improve their R&D and produce more cassava and produce flour. Because as it is now, the government is saying that we are importing more than $2.2 billion worth of flour.
Participants say the program will expose them to modern farming techniques, agribusiness management, and innovative practices needed to compete globally.
When we talk about farmers And when we say the president is a farmer-friendly president, what would he do? He has come up with fertilizer for our farmers. And this fertilizer is going out for the very first time, like I've said, free of charge. Free of charge.
The agripreneurship program will provide training in climate-smart agriculture, value addition and enterprise development, while linking beneficiaries with financing, mentorship and market opportunities.
The agricultural value chain.
And in Edo State, the government says that its road infrastructure drive across the Edo Central Senatorial District is making progress, with some projects completed and others nearing completion, all aimed at improving connectivity and supporting economic growth across the district. During an inspection tour, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works, John Obano, assessed the ongoing projects and praised the contractors for maintaining quality standards and delivering within schedule.
The inspection begins at Irua in Esan Central Local Government Area, with projects that have been completed and are now improving accessibility for residents. The 0.5-kilometer Prince Jimoh Momodu Road has been completed. Also completed are Irua Street, Isikweme Street and 3 spurs in Akwa Irua in 1.2-kilometer projects. After inspecting the completed projects, the Permanent Secretary, Edo State Ministry of Works, John Obano, commends the contractors for delivering quality work on schedule, saying the projects reflect the state government's commitment to improving road infrastructure across Edo Central.
The Prince Jimoh Road, Prince Harrison, Iyoha Road, and Varsity Road. Those who have so far been completed completely. And others are at their various stages of completion, and with the zeal and every effort that is being put in, I know in no distant time we'll have more projects coming in line in terms of those that have been completed.
The inspection continues to projects still under construction, including the 21.98-kilometer Ukun-Ewu Road with 9 spurs across Esan West and Esan Central local government areas. The 31.73-kilometer Ekuma Uromi Ubiaja Road linking Esan Central, Esan Northeast and Esan Southeast local government areas, among others. The team also inspects the 33.53-kilometer Uromi Onewa Udomi Ibilolu Afuda Idumoza Eko Waya Ewara Road with spurs, including the Utako Udumu Aligwe Road and Idumu Ekhere Road. Here, the contractor says prolonged rainfall has slowed work on some sections of the project, but assures the government that the delay is temporary and that the project will be completed in line with the contract's timeline.
Unfortunately, the weather is always in raining season is against the construction. Farmers will be happy to have rain, but the construction it's not. In fact, from June, starting from June up to September, it's not easy to do job with laterite, because 1 hour of rain, it will raise the moisture in your material where you need about 2 or 3 days to dry it. So if it will rain 1 hour in 2 or 3 days, you cannot achieve anything. So normally we focus on concrete, on drainage, on culverts to prepare the road to receive laterite in dry season.
As the inspection continues to other road infrastructure projects, the Edo State government says the projects on completion will improve connectivity, boost economic activities, and enhance the quality of life for residents across Edo Central Senatorial District.
And staying with infrastructure, in Kaduna State, the governor, Senator Obasani, has flagged off the construction of 11 new strategic roads in Zaria and Sabongari local government areas under the Phase 2 of the state's urban and rural renewal program. The road projects, which are part of his administration's commitment to improving rural and urban connectivity and boosting economic development, are all expected to open up farming activities in communities, ease transportation, and enhance access to markets, schools, hospitals, and other social services.
It's another milestone achievement for the Kaduna State government's infrastructure renewal program as Governor Obasani arrives Zaria to flag off 11 new strategic roads aimed at connecting rural communities to urban centers. The groundbreaking ceremony attracts the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, the former governor of Kaduna State, Ramalan Yero, and the Emir of Zauzau, as well as residents of Zaria and Sabongari, marking the commencement of another phase of road infrastructure development aimed at improving transportation and enhancing economic activities across the two cities.
The 11 township roads will be executed by Mothercard Nigeria Limited, CGC and CGT Nigeria Limited, representing another major investment in development of Zaria and Sabongari, which further reaffirmed the Kaduna State government's resolve to expand and modernize critical infrastructure across the state.
To thank His Excellency.
In his remark, the Speaker of the House of Representatives commends Governor Sani for consistently prioritizing Zaria and Sabongari in his development agenda.
To thank His Excellency for always being there for us in Zaria. There is no empowerment program that we ever invited His Excellency that he has not honored. There is no request of anything that we made to His Excellency for the benefit of people of Zaria that he has not granted. These 9 projects out of the 11 that will be commissioned today will go a long way in solving our infrastructural deficit in Zaria.
For Governor Ubasani, the new road projects form part of his administration's broader rural transformation agenda, which prioritizes infrastructure development, economic inclusion, and improved access to essential services across Zaria and Sabongari local government areas.
Across our 20 local government areas, we have initiated 150 roads, projects covering more than 1,355 kilometers, with the overwhelming majority already completed. These projects reflect our determination to ensure that development is driven not by geography, politics, or identity, but by fairness, equity, and the legitimate aspiration of our people.
The flag of ceremony is marked by the cutting of the ceremonial ribbon and symbolic groundbreaking by the governor, formally signaling the commencement of work on the 11 road projects.
From Kaduna State, we head to Adamawa State, where more positive developments have continued to be recorded in the livestock industry, with the commissioning of another modern veterinary hospital in Lafia, Lamode local government area of the state to service one of the biggest cattle markets in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Speaking at the ceremony, the Commissioner of Livestock Development and Agriculture, Abdullahi Usman Lamode, says the project is meant to bring quality animal health care closer to livestock owners and boost productivity.
This is a gathering of livestock producers, community leaders, and other stakeholders as they converge to witness the commissioning ceremony of this modern veterinary hospital.
To you, the people.
The Commissioner for Livestock Development speaks on the state government's commitment to expand livestock infrastructure and ensuring that farmers have access to quality veterinary services across Adamawa State.
We are the owner of this project. Not say this is government project, nobody cares of. No, please, take care of it. Whoever is encouraging. That's why you can see the surrounding has been block work. Because for the encouragement, we must protect our thing.
The district head of Lafia, Clement Minakoro, represented by the secretary of the district, Baba Yerima, appreciates the Adamawa State government and the World Bank for bringing the project closer to rural communities.
Let's put our heads together to ensure that this place serves its purpose, and we should bring our livestock for vaccination.
The Adamawa State Coordinator of Al Press highlights the essence of the project, which continues to equip farmers with the skills they need to strengthen food security in the state.
As you can see from the background, this is a farmer field school that Al Press has established, and for the past 2 years we have been training farmers in various endeavors of livestock production. Today we are here to issue certificates to our livestock trainees in the field, whom our extension officers have done justice to.
From improving animal health care in Lamude, the Oil Press project extends its impact to Mayobelwa local government area, where over 500 farmers from the Oil Press Farmers Field School, who received training in climate-smart agriculture, livestock management, disease prevention, and improved farming methods, graduated. The new graduates are appreciative of the training, which will help them reduce losses and improve their income.
And in the southeastern part of Nigeria, 13 years after his death, Nigeria's literary icon, Chinua Achebe, continues to inspire generations. In honor of the renowned author of Things Fall Apart, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has unveiled a statue of Achebe at Ogunwasike roundabout in Ogidi, his hometown in Idemili North local government area of the state. Governor Soludo describes Achebe as the global symbol of excellence, whose contributions transformed African literature and elevated the continent's cultural identity. He says the state remains committed to preserving Achebe's legacy while nurturing a new generation of literary talents. The monument is also expected to promote cultural heritage and boost literary tourism in Ogidi land.
He lived a life of impact, and his impact will continue. And the man who demonstrated to us that you can be excellent, an excellent academic, global icon, but at the same time be the homeboy. Okay? He once served as the President General of Ogidi. Well, this is the kind of person we should be immortalizing, we should be celebrating as an icon, as a role model for the young ones, that hard work pays. His ideas continue to shape our society, continue to shape Anambra, continue to shape Igbo, and will continue to shape Nigeria, Africa, and humanity. Amen. And may God give us many more Chinua Achebes in various fields.
And staying in the world of arts, international memory and dynamic of agency in contemporary arts is the theme of an art discourse right here in Lagos. Well, that show, organized by the Center for Contemporary Art, is to reveal the importance of art archival in an evolving digital space. We see that on Art Review tonight.
The Center for Contemporary Art, Lagos, partnering with IFRA Nigeria, has launched a project titled Institutional Memory and the Dynamics of Agency in Contemporary Arts Archives in Yaba, Lagos. The initiative focuses on the digitization of visual art archives to preserve these vital creative resources.
What CCA has done today, it's kind of a pace setting in the sense that for many years it's a gap that has existed, and we are quite pleased with what CCA has done because it will go a long way to fill in the gap.
I've seen the arts ecosystem expand quite dramatically, and CCA was at the heart of a lot of that. And so I think it's important that when we talk about contemporary art history, that there are places and spaces that people can research. And so that was one of the most important outcomes for us, that our arts community and the wider arts community has a place that they can go to if they are researching contemporary artistic practice and contemporary artistic history as it relates to Nigeria, the Global South, and BISTI's own practice.
Most of our history have always been oral, and also what is not documented properly gets lost. And beyond just paper works, because if you look at paper archives, you see that most times these paper archives tend to get lost or get destroyed. Maybe moths or maybe fire. Just think about anything that can. And papers don't last for long. But digitizing most of these archives is great, because that way you're able to preserve these archives in a better state.
In a room filled with artists, researchers, curators, and more, conversations centered on inclusive storytelling in contemporary African art, reinforcing the CCA's role as an innovative cultural hub.
people are interested at what is happening, and they are not only interested in preserving, but they are interested with engaging with archive, being critical about it, reflecting about what is archive, what is heritage, how is it evolving through time, and that makes me very hopeful. It means that also there's an interest, and that it's a living archive, not only like something to preserve and not to touch, but something to discuss, to engage with, to be critics also around it.
Rather than leaving historical records static, these practitioners brainstormed ways to treat archival material as living history to create an evolving foundation that actively builds the present and future of contemporary art.
In the world of sports, Spain are on the verge of emerging champions of the 2026 World Cup. That's after earning a lead against Argentina in the final at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Substitute Ferran Torres struck in extra time to give the European champions that advantage, and Argentina ended the game with 10 men after Enzo Fernandez was sent off. And the match is still ongoing. We'll be bringing you the details in the course of the bulletin. In other stories, France coach Didier Deschamps has said that he had experienced a truly wonderful adventure with his players as he bid farewell to the job after 14 highly successful years in charge. He guided France to World Cup victory in Moscow back in 2018, becoming one of only 3 men to have won it as both coach and player. After a chaotic third-place playoff loss to England on Saturday, the 57-year-old has reflected that he had a beautiful tournament with his players and staff, and reports say the global football icon and World Cup winner Zinedine Zidane is expected to replace him as coach on September the 1st. And in cycling, a 2-time champion Jonas Vingegaard has suffered a miserable end to his Tour de France. That's after crashing around 20 kilometers from the end of the 15th stage. He was sitting second overall, went down hard on a bend at the Visma-Lease bike team, were setting a fierce pace to chase down the day's breakaway. The 29-year-old Dane was visibly in pain following that crash, which caused another 4 riders to also fall. He was then helped into a medical vehicle with his arm in a sling. This is the first time that Vingegaard will be unable to finish a Grand Tour. Away from sports, outside our shores, the U.S. and Iran have exchanged strikes for an 8th consecutive day, and that's after Iranian attack on a base in Jordan killed 2 soldiers and left another 1 missing. Iranian media reported that an under-construction nuclear power plant in the southwestern part of the city had been struck overnight, as well as in Qashim Island. Local officials in Kuwait say that an electricity and water plant were also hit for a second time. Later on Sunday, 3 Iranian missiles were shot down by Jordan's military, and a 4th fell in the remote area. Jordan State News reports followed a U.S. warning that the Jordanian port of Achebe could be targeted. The U.S. and Iran have ramped up attacks against each other in recent days, with both sides accused of striking critical infrastructure. And Russia has carried out a wave of ballistic missile strikes in Ukrainian capital Kiev, killing 1 person and wounding at least 14 others. A number of areas in the region have also been hit overnight, as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called it one of the most massive ballistic attacks on Kiev since the start of Russia's full invasion. The Ukrainian military says that air defenses had shot down 18 out of 41 missiles, and the system also intercepted 108 drones. Meanwhile, Ukraine has continued its own assault on Russian sites, and the governor of the southwestern Strapovol region says the drone attack had caused a fire at an industrial park. Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko today said that both residential and non-residential buildings had been damaged in the latest attacks, including a supermarket and a dormitory. And the main news again. Troops supported by Nigeria Police Mobile Force personnel foiled a suspected ISWAP mass abduction attempt at the Federal Government Girls College in Manguna, Borno State. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. Have a wonderful week ahead. Good night.